It's Monday, October 30th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. Thank you for joining us. We have a great show in store for you today. On today's show, our intern, Mackenzie Connor, interviewed Barnstable High School Athletic Director, Scott Thomas. Then we'll learn about Alumni Engagement at Cape Cod Community College with Alumni Engagement Coordinator, Susan Greenup. Finally, we'll get an airport update with Airport Manager, Bud Brialt. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. A public hearing on changes to various permits and program fees that will take effect January 1st, 2018 for FY 2018 within the town of Barnstable will be held on November 7th at 10 a.m. in the Town Hall hearing room right here at Town Hall. Information on proposed changes is available on the town website at www.townofbarnstable.us or in the town manager's office. Election Day is coming up on November 7th. Anyone wishing to cast an absentee ballot must do so by noon on November 6th. Any voter that will not be in town on the 7th is eligible to vote by absentee ballot in the town clerk's office right here at Town Hall. On November 7th, all even-numbered precincts will have town councilor elections, and all precincts will be voting seats on school committee and housing authority, as well as for the town clerk's position. Polls will open at 7 a.m. in all 13 precincts and close at 8. Veterans Day is coming up, and there are two events we'd like you to be aware of. This year's Veterans Day Parade will take place on Friday, November 10th at 10 a.m. The parade will form next to the Town Hall building, extending back to the Village Green. The parade will step off promptly at 10 a.m. The parade will conclude at the Hyannis Village Green for the annual Barnstable Soldiers Veterans Day program. On Veterans Day, Saturday, November 11th, the first annual Barnstable Veterans Town Hall will be held from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. The Town Hall will include 10-minute testimonies of 20 combat veterans. Please join this community event hosted by the Town of Barnstable and the Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center. Maintenance dredging operations are scheduled to commence within the Barnstable Harbor entrance channel on or about November 1st. Work is permitted 7 days per week, and hours of operation will vary depending on the tide cycles. The work is anticipated to be completed by the end of November or early December, contingent upon weather and other factors. The project involves mechanically dredging an estimated 6,868 cubic yards of sediment from the existing 60-foot wide channel. Dredged materials will be disposed offshore at the Cape Cod Bay disposal site. The channel will remain open to commercial and recreational boats throughout the dredging project. Boaters are urged to exercise caution when passing near the dredge rig. Up next, our intern, Mackenzie Connor, interviews Barnstable High School Athletic Director, Scott Thomas.
Hello, I'm Mackenzie Connor, intern for Channel 18. Today we have Barnstable High School Athletic Director Scott Thomas joining us to talk about fall and winter sports. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure to be here.
Can you just start off by getting us a little recap about fall sports?
The fall sports have been fantastic, actually historical, because I believe for the first time in at least 18 years, maybe longer, that all the varsity teams have qualified for the MIA state tournament, which is fantastic. So we're really excited about that. So it has been a successful season, and it's not over yet. So looking forward to the tournament.
Every team has made it to playoffs, every varsity team?
That is correct.
Wow. So is there anything kind of noteworthy about the fall sports this year? Any standout players?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, volleyball, which you are a member of and have been for some time, they continue on with, you know, the fantastic seasons that they normally have on their trek for, I believe, a 19th state championship. So best of luck there. And right at the moment, 18-0, well on their way. Girls soccer qualified for the tournament for the first time in 18 years, which is like, wow, that's fantastic. Boys soccer has had a huge turnaround. Last year, with a young group and inexperienced team, we had a record of 1 win and 17 losses. This year, right now, we are 10 wins, 4 losses, and 2 ties going into the tournament. OCL co-champions, and really excited about what's going on with that sport. The girls cross country team just won the OCL championship, so that's exciting. Field hockey is having another good year. They've qualified for the tournament, and
OCL champs, right?
OCL champs as well. So it's been a it's been a good fall, and you know, all the teams have stepped up and done a super job.
So pretty successful season for Barnstable High School.
Absolutely, not done yet.
Not done yet, still going.
That's right.
And for winter sports, it's coming up pretty fast. Are there any new coaches or big changes going on this year?
No, everyone's coming back. It's the same coaching staff as we've had last year. Actually, I shouldn't say that. We do have a coaching change, and that is that Kaz Malik will be taking over as the head basketball coach. Jared Payne, who took the job on an interim position last year.
Girls basketball?
Girls basketball is going to slide over back to JV boys basketball, where he was before. And Kaz Malik, who has been a volunteer assistant and who has coached for a number of years in the state of Rhode Island, is going to be our new girls head coach.
Oh, that's good. And the informative winter sports night is November 14th. What goes on at these meetings?
At these meetings, it's basically an informational meeting so that everyone understands what is required to try out. You have to be registered through the school's website. We need to make sure that we have physicals are up to date. We need to make sure that payments are made for those that are paying the user fee. We have just some informational nights. The coaches meet individually with their teams to go over their team rules, what their selection process will be for tryouts if they have tryouts in those particular sports, and just to give everybody a good heads up on being ready to go once we start the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and to kind of meet the new coaches if there are any. Meet
the new coaches and get a chance to know what their expectations are and get everybody ready to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm Mackenzie Connor, and that's it for today.
Coming up, we'll get an airport update from Airport Manager Bud Brielt, but first, let's learn about alumni engagement at Cape Cod Community College with Susan Greenup. Susie, thank you so much for joining us today. You are the new Alumni Engagement Coordinator at Cape Cod Community College. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that position is. So why don't you tell me about where this position came from? Because I know it's a sort of new position.
Yes, it was started actually in early 2016. I was hired by the foundation, which is actually the entity that I work for, in April of 2016. The job came about because a generous board member of the foundation decided that it would be really good to start a program where we reach out to alumni on a consistent basis and try to get them re-engaged with the college. There hasn't been a sustainable program of alumni outreach. And the goal of the program obviously is to get people, graduates, re-engaged with the college in a variety of different ways. That means, if they want to mentor students, if they want to come back and be on a panel, if they're interested in reading resumes or offering internships or job positions, things like that, with the long-term goal of hopefully gaining some financial support for the college, because right now the state funds, certain percentage of the budget, but that's dropped about 40% or more in the past several years. So the college needs to rely on the foundation, which is the Cape Cod Community College Educational Foundation, long word. And that's a separate organization, even though it only exists to support the college. We supply students with scholarships, both students that are continuing on at 4Cs and students that are continuing on elsewhere. So there are two different kinds of scholarships. We also offer faculty innovation grants, and then we help with capital campaigns. For example, the latest Nursing and Allied Health campaign. The foundation has been charged with, to raise a certain amount of money, 3.7, minus the $1 million that the Cape Cod Healthcare has already donated.
Wow.
So this board member, who had actually also worked at the college in the alumni office, in the admissions office, thought that this would be a good opportunity and a gift to the college in the long term.
Yeah.
So we're kind of starting out grassroots at this time.
That's wonderful. I know that a lot of colleges and universities, across the country rely on their alumni heavily.
Absolutely.
And I'm an alumni of Cape Cod
That's
Community
so awesome.
College.
I'm glad to know that.
And I know there's so many of us out there. There's so many people here on the Cape who have gone to 4Cs. What constitutes someone who is considered an alumni of 4Cs?
Well, for engagement purposes, and really for, college public relations and for the educational board, anybody who's taken a course could be considered an alum. The group that I am most apt to keep track of, because that's the group that I get at the end of the year after commencement in May. I get a list of people who have graduated with an AA or an AS or have gotten a certificate. So I may not know all of the people, and there are many, as you know, that could be considered alums.
Yep.
Transfer students that might have transferred, say, a few credits shy of getting an actual degree. They wouldn't be in our database.
Right.
So part of this engagement process is to have people raise their hand and say, hey, I went to 4Cs, and get us their contact information, because frankly, if we don't know about you, we can't get in touch with you, we can't engage you, we can't get your ideas and suggestions and things like that. And you're right, traditional four-year colleges, and even some of the more, I don't know if you say progressive or well-established, not that 4Cs isn't, but they've already connected with their alums all the way along.
Yep.
People are in the habit of updating their addresses and giving back financially in other ways to their college. And so, it's time for us to do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's wonderful, and it's a great way to kind of to broaden the experience of someone who has gone to 4Cs. It's, I went to 4Cs from 2000 to 2002. I graduated with my AA, and it was a great experience I had there. I went on to a 4-year college, so there's a lot of us out there that, that graduated, but also, like you said, there's a lot of people who have taken, a handful of courses and stuff, so, and they're considered alumni too. I mean, we're all part of this wonderful community here on Cape Cod.
For example, my son, when he was between Wheaton College and UMass Dartmouth, took a couple courses here because he wanted to shift what he was majoring in. And so he took 2 art courses to booster his portfolio. And to tell you the truth, they were probably just as transformational for him and what he went on to do as getting a certificate or a degree. So I don't want to leave anybody out.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. We want to be inclusive.
Definitely.
Because, as I say, getting a degree, being there for 2 years or 10 years if it takes you that long to get those kinds of classes, and that trajectory can be just as transformational as, say, a more typical, although you don't find that as much, student coming out of high school, going for 2 years, and then moving on. There's a huge variety in where people are in their life, and when they come back to school or go to school.
Now, if we have alumni that are watching, in all kinds, like we said, graduates and people who've maybe only taken a course or two, what is the best way for them to get involved and get in touch?
Well, I have started an alumni advisory group, which is a group, and we've met probably 4 times now, and we've started brainstorming about what we can do and how we can do outreach. And that group doesn't have a specific time we meet, but we're going to get that organized. It's been, like every quarter now, and I think we're going to up it to maybe every other month.
Wonderful.
Because it seems to be best that people come, do their work, and then they go on with their lives. And we are going to be focusing on a couple of things. One are events. Last year we had and I'll answer your question about getting in touch in just a minute, but I want to put this out there because if anybody's interested in joining this group, I would love to have them. Anybody's welcome. And that means anybody that's taken a course to getting, several associate's degrees or certificates over the years. We are going to start working on an Alum of the Year award, revitalizing that, and also working on events. Last year we had a nursing program alumni come back for an evening, and we had members from the class of 1970 all the way up to the class president for last year.
Oh, wow.
So it was really nice. You know, it wasn't a big group, but it was a good start, and people were enthusiastic. So we're trying to do affinity groups, and then look at ways we can expand on that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So on the Cape Cod Community College's website, I know that there's a spot on there for alumni. It's capecod.edu/alumni.
Yep.
And that's a great place where anyone who's interested in finding out more information or signing up to get more information, that's a great place for them to go. Did you want to give your email as well if people want to contact you directly?
Yeah, it's just S and then Greenup, GREENUP at capecod.edu.
Perfect.
And please visit the website. If you can't remember to do the /alumni, just go on the college website.
Yeah.
There's a section that says Alumni and Friends over on the right-hand side. Click on that. You can update your contact information. You can write us notes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and read the alumni profiles that are there.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Susie, for coming in and giving us all this updated information about the alumni outreach at Cape Cod Community College. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I was very happy to do this.
Good. I'm glad. My guest today is Susie Greenup. She is the Alumni Engagement Coordinator at Cape Cod Community College. But thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to do a little bit of an airport update. Airport Commission met last week. So one of the items on the agenda was talking about a letter for the Massachusetts Air and Space Museum. What can you tell me about what this is all about?
Well, we were approached by the leadership, if you will, of the Massachusetts Air and Space Museum, looking for a possible place where they could build, I call it a world-class museum to aviation for the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth. And they were trying to put it up at Hanscom Field in Bedford, but apparently the space that they had intended to use up there is now no longer available. So they came down and talked to us, and we've made a couple of suggestions which they are exploring. And so what they needed from the airport was a letter of intent that we would indeed work with them to help them locate a space either at the airport or on property owned or leased by the airport. So along those lines, that's what the letter was for, was to induce them to come here. And eventually they would start probably with a 20,000 square feet museum, and then they have enough artifacts and equipment to put on display that they could easily go up to 100,000 square feet at some point in time.
Wow. So
you're talking a big, big museum, which should be a big draw, and it would also be a teaching, learning museum where they would be working with schools and things like that to try to educate kids about aviation, and hopefully maybe even use that as an impetus to bring in aviation schools or get the kids to go to pilot training or airframe mechanic schools and things like that, because there's a dire need for pilots and mechanics in the aviation industry.
Mm-hmm. What do you know? What the reason why they were interested in coming to the Barnstable or the Cape in general?
I don't know the exact reason, but I think we've always expressed an interest in being working with them on this. We'd talked to them a couple of times in the past that if things didn't work out for them at Hanscom, then hey, how about considering Hyannis?
That's wonderful.
There is a lot of tourism here, obviously. Millions of people come through the Cape every year. There's a lot of museums here. So I think that it kind of fits in a way. And, of course, this airport has been here since 1928, almost back to the dawn of aviation in the state of Massachusetts. And we've had a lot of historic figures here that have been either in or out or have been through here, like Amelia Earhart, President Bush. All kinds of people have been through here or trained here or flown in and out of here, certainly the Kennedys and things like that. So I think there's a lot of aviation history in Hyannis and at this airport. So it kind of fits a little bit.
Wonderful. So I look forward to you giving us, an update as this moves forward, where we go after the letter process. So,
well, right now, my understanding is that the board of directors for the Massachusetts Air and Space Museum has agreed that they will make their next effort will be here. So we're hoping that we can now parlay this into an actual physical site.
Wonderful.
So that'd be awesome, and we'll keep you advised.
Okay, great. The next thing we want to talk about is you guys finished construction on the 2 runways that you've been working on for quite some time now, and you had your FAA inspection. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this past Tuesday we had a final inspection for the reconstruction of runway 1533 and for the painting and modifications that we did also on runway 624. And that was successfully done. FAA has approved it. The Massachusetts Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division has also approved it, the work that we've done. And so it was a great job. It has been a lot of work. It's been a lot of disruption, which people have seen, I'm sure, with all the trucks on the road and all the piles of dirt everywhere.
Yep.
And we actually started construction back in March, and we just finished. And right now we're just doing punch list items to, fix the small things that need to be corrected at the end, which you have at the end of any major construction project. Mm-hmm. So this was about a $10 million project for the reconstruction, and it was a success. The only thing we have left to do is runway 624, and we will have practically rebuilt the entire airport.
Wow.
And then we also had a final inspection on a slurry seal, which is a seal coat that we put over our ramp. So we sealed 300,000 square feet of ramp space in front of the terminal and the tower, and that also was approved.
Wow. That's great. Do you have a timeline or plan for runway 624?
Right now, it's about 2 to 3 years away, and it's going to depend on money and certainly the condition of the pavement. Mm-hmm. So, in fact, we have our capital meeting with the FAA next month to go over all of our future projects, and that's one of them.
Okay, great. Well, sounds wonderful. I'm so glad that the project went well. It's finished, and everything can sort of go back to normal at the airport.
Yeah, we're almost back to normal.
Great. Thank you, Bud, so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great afternoon.
You too, Sarah. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
My guest today was Airport Manager Bud Brialt. Before we get to our community calendar, let's get an update on what's going on at Barnstable High School.
Hello, I'm Mackenzie Connor, intern for Channel 18. There is a lot happening at Barnstable High School this week. The second scholarship bulletin is available for seniors, including the Town of Barnstable Martin J. Flynn Scholarship and the Massachusetts JCI Senate Scholarship. See the Barnstable High School website under the School Counseling tab for more information. On November 6th, first-term grades will be closing, and report cards will be distributed the following week. Makeup photos for students and staff will be held on Tuesday, November 7th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the Performing Arts Center. The BHS Drama Club will hold open auditions for their soon-to-be-announced spring musical on Monday, December 4th from 5 to 7:30 and Tuesday, December 5th from 2:15 to 4:15. All BHS students are welcome to audition. See Mr. Billard in room 1207 with any questions. Winter Sports Night will be held Tuesday, November 14th at 6 p.m. in the main caf. This meeting is mandatory for any student interested in trying out for either basketball, ice hockey, winter track, wrestling, gymnastics, or swimming. That's all for today. I'm Mackenzie Connor. Thanks for watching.
Now let's take a look at our community calendar. Safe trick-or-treating returns to Main Street Hyannis tomorrow, October 31st. Main Street will be closed to traffic so families can safely trick-or-treat up and down Main Street. The trick-or-treating starts at 4 p.m. and goes until 6 p.m. Sturgis Library recently purchased a library telescope. Join them on Wednesday, November 1st from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. to learn all about it. John Root, an expert on astronomy from the Aldrich Society, will be giving a presentation on the telescope, how to use it, what you can expect to find in the night sky, and how to do so. Highlights include the moons of Jupiter, Saturn's rings, Mercury, and Venus. After the presentation, they will go outside with the telescope and a secondary telescope for a guided tour of the night sky. This is great for all ages, free to the public. Sign up in advance by calling the Sturgis Library at 508-362-6636. Now let's take a look at this week's board, committee, and commission schedule. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with another great show for you. On tomorrow's show, we will talk with Assistant Director of Senior Services, Donna Burns, and we'll have so much more. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.